The first speaker is Julie Miller, and Julie's is My Big Decision. Julie Miller. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, and every gender in between. Welcome to my icebreaker speech entitled My Big Decision. And before I reveal to you my big decision, I just want to recite an ancient Chinese proverb that I wrote about 2 weeks ago. If the world is full of happy people, it has got to be a better place. And I'm just going to let that proverb rise and linger in the atmosphere while I reveal to you my big decision. On the 22nd of July, 1958, I made the biggest decision of my life. In fact, it was a decision about life itself. With little fanfare and a small welcoming party, I made the decision to be born. Now I know the decision to be born, is it a conscious or a subconscious one? Well, that's a debate for another day. But if it is a conscious decision, it's got to be the baby that makes it, not the parents. Otherwise, how does that explain why so many babies are born during an episode of Coronation Street, Emmerdale Farm, or indeed Match of the Day itself? I chose that date, 22nd of July 1958, because it represented a chronological crossroads in the history of our 20th century society. For it was only 12 years and 10 months before I was born that World War II ended, on the 2nd of September 1945. And 5 years and a month before I was born, our greatest monarch of our time, Queen Elizabeth II, was crowned. And 2 years and 9 months after I was born, the first man went into space, Yuri Gagarin. Everyone's date of birth, mine included, represents a significant moment in our lives when we begin our journeys as human beings. Now, it is no coincidence that when I was born, my parents were in attendance, my mother's presence being nothing short of essential. But there was one person in that room that day who I did not invite to be there. I didn't know his name. I never found out who he was. He was totally anonymous. But he made a decision about me that I've had to live with and has decided and directed the course of my life ever since. He was the duty doctor, and with one momentary glance at what was then a very tiny part of my anatomy, he declared, with the authority vested in him by our society, that I was a boy. Another historic event took place 3 years and 5 months before I was born. Professor John Money of the Johns Hopkins University, Florida, summarized the research of many decades by many scientists and doctors throughout the world, which stated that gender is a behavior, using the words masculine, feminine, boy, girl, man, woman, as opposed to sex, which uses the words male, female, and refers to sexual organs, the prostate, the womb, the vagina, the penis. And since then, the institutions of the world that are interested in this subject, the World Health Organization, the American Psychological Association, the World Professional Association with Transgender Health, the National Health Service, all define gender as a behavior. So how was it that that doctor on that day would know that my behaviour in my childhood and whether I was going to behave as a boy or a girl, unless he could look into the future? And I don't think his name was Doctor Who. Thankfully, on the 9th of May 2016, another doctor, this time known to me, Dr. John Dean of the NHS Gender Identity Clinic in Exeter, corrected the mistake of his predecessor. And Dr. John Dean is a leading expert in the field. And with the knowledge of gender and sex of the scientific community, he declared that I am a woman. I think, I feel, I act, and I behave like a woman, and therefore I am. And since that day, I can state quite categorically that I have never been happier in my life as a human being. And I'll just pull down that ancient Chinese proverb from where it's been lingering and say, if the world is full of happy people, it has got to be a better place.